Okay, now this is a tutorial video basically about one of the areas I get written to about a lot, which is the literature paper exams. It is worth 3/5 of the mark on the day, so overall it's worth about 1/3 of your actual literature mark, so it's worth doing well on. Now, the examiner will sit down with a sheet just like this at the end of the summer after you've done the exam, and this is what he will mark your poetry response to. So first of all, this is the mark range that you're looking at. So down here, 36 marks is in A star. So this is an A, this is a B, this is a C, this is a D. And for the purposes of this video, we won't look any lower than that. You've got the skill descriptor here, which is basically what you're able to apply when writing your essay, and the content descriptor, which is basically the kind of things that you actually include, what you actually pick out. Now, the skill sets for all of these are actually very, very similar, but they just build. So if you can imagine, whatever is actually here, you will find again here, but it will be far more developed. So here, you're focusing a little bit on the task, whereas down for an A, you are A star, sorry, you have a conceptualized response to the task. Now, conceptualized in this case actually just means it's got all the kind of concepts, facets, elements, and avenues covered. So you really are pushing something when you can really see all of the avenues that are in it. Whereas in here, you vaguely get it. Now, for a C, structured. Okay, so there's actually clear response to the task. And with this one, it's always clear and it's sustained, so actually making sense the whole way through, and you can keep going through the threads. Analytical is, this is the A skill now, where you're actually trying to get into the things that you're actually picking up. So you can actually pick something up and then take them on tangents in your writing, etc. Now, the best way to explain this probably is to think of some colours. This up here, if we were standing together and we were looking at the sea, you might say, here, we're standing there, and then this person goes, yeah, it looks blue, and that would be his. This person here would say, oh, it looks blue in places and it's darker in other places. This person here would say it's blue in places, dark in other places, and it has some white riffs where the actual tiny waves are coming up. This analytical one would actually go into the reason why the waves were actually coming up at certain places, and then it might actually go into the depth of certain places affecting how it goes, and obviously maybe discussing how a boat would have come across earlier. And obviously a conceptualized response would include all of that and just develop more. So you can actually see the kind of thing that you're actually looking at. When it comes to actually analyzing the poems themselves, if you say this poem is simply about someone being sad, that would be a level up here. If you actually say something about sad because of, and then trying to change it, that would be around here. This person is actually sad but also mournful because of how the changes are. This person, this one here, this person is sad, however they are coming to terms with what has happened, and they're able to appreciate the lesson that is actually involved in it, etc, etc. And then you just can't keep building your marks like that. Now, each one of these are different areas, so let's just look at a B grade so you can actually imagine yourself what comes above and what comes beyond it. Sustained and developed response to the task, well, we've actually just gone through that. Considered and qualified response to the ideas and purposes. So this basically means you understand what the writer is trying to tell you. Detailed link to the writer's intentions and purposes. So you actually have evidence from everything that the writer has actually tried to get across, his purpose and the feelings with which they were trying to convey. Thoughtful consideration of meanings, so you don't just look at something and say it is one thing. You may also say, it could also mean this, it could also mean this. Appreciation of the writer's use of language, structure and form. So basically you look at the words they used and the techniques they used and say why they used them. You can look at the shape of the poem and how it's actually set out in the form and say why that they were particularly relevant for this type of poem. It's a thoughtful selection and consideration of material for comparison. So this is one of the marks that you get for actually comparing them. So you know that something from poem A and something from poem B are actually relevant together, and you haven't just put them in as because they're obvious, but you can actually make a link that maybe not everyone would see straight away. And finally, sustained and developed comparison in terms of ideas, meanings and techniques. So basically you do this more than once. You actually mention the ideas that are coming across, the meanings in the words that are actually used, and the techniques that are actually used. And remember, all of this could be similar or different, whichever way you wanted to look at it. Now, to do all of these things together and to actually try and remember them in something a lot more easy to remember than this whole page spread, we will remember something called SMILE, and that is an acronym for structure, meaning, image, language, and effect. And we'll go through that in the next video, and then we'll actually break down exactly what we mean by SMILE. This is an example of the development of a G grade point to an A grade point, bearing in mind the descriptors that we've actually just been through before we go into SMILE, just to explain that development a little clearer. It is done by another it has been done by another teacher, and I do not know who they are. I received this from Teach It, which is a teaching website, so apologies for not being able to credit the person fully. So basically here, the simple part, comment, you make a simple statement. Catherine is the speaker's daughter in this poem. Identify it. Catherine is speaker's daughter. She uses a metaphor, so there we're still up to about a high E, low D. Catherine is the speaker's daughter. She uses a metaphor to illustrate that they are joined together. This shows that their relationship is still close. The red rope is the umbilical cord. Now up to about here, we're up to around low B, high C. This shows that their relationship is still close, but also that they are still connected even though she has grown up. So there you're making that slightly more developed analytical connection. The red symbolizes both the love and the anger, so you're looking at it in both ways, and the relationship makes the speaker feel. But also may symbolize a warning that the changes in the relationship are going to bring more trouble as a daughter grows. So that's a really good development of 1 point all the way down there from a basic low grade. It's probably not actually a G, it's probably still some semblance of an E, and then all the way up to an A star. You're looking at the detail and looking how the different things actually link together. So here we've actually got the alliteration and the image that's actually connected and what's it symbolic of, etc., and then the multiple meanings, etc. So you can see how all of that links together. So hopefully that gives you a clearer idea of how the examiner will be assessing you.